It was early Saturday morning when I noticed a group of strangers pacing across my property, hammering orange stakes into the ground like they owned the place. They weren't construction workers I had hired, and they definitely weren't invited. My heart raced as I watched one of them pull out a clipboard stamped with HOA at the top. That's when I realized the Homeowners Association had sent surveyors onto my private land without permission. What they didn't know was that I had kept every deed, plat, and legal survey for decades. And when I called 911, I wasn't just reporting trespassers. I was setting up the downfall of an HOA that thought intimidation would strip me of what was rightfully mine. My name's Daniel, and I've lived in this county for almost 20 years. I own a 12-acre spread of mixed woodland and open pasture that's been in my family since my grandfather bought it in the late 1960s. It sits right next to a gated subdivision that popped up about 10 years ago. At first, I didn't mind them. Families moved in, kids played, and the houses sold fast. But then came the HOA. You see, the subdivision wasn't just homes. It came with one of those power-hungry boards that thinks their rules extend beyond their fences. I wasn't a member of the HOA. I never signed any covenants, never agreed to fees. My land predates their entire neighborhood. Still, that didn't stop them from trying to drag me into their nonsense. It started small, letters suggesting I trim back the tree line because it ruined the subdivision's view. Then they complained about my barn, claiming it was unsightly. They even had the audacity to suggest I pave part of my gravel drive to match neighborhood standards. Each time I sent the same response: I am not in your HOA. Do not contact me again. But entitled people rarely stop at words. That Saturday, I was sipping coffee on my porch when I noticed movement near the tree line. At first I thought maybe some kids had wandered too far, but then I saw 3 grown men in reflective vests. One carried a tripod with a survey scope. The other 2 hammered stakes into my ground. I stormed over. "Excuse me, what do you think you're doing on my property?" I demanded. The oldest of the 3 barely glanced at me. "We're conducting a boundary survey for the HOA. They're looking at expanding the recreational easement." My blood boiled. "This is my land. You have no right to be here without my permission." The man shrugged. "We were told the association has rights up to this tree line. If you've got a problem, take it up with them." That was it. I pulled out my phone and dialed 911. The dispatcher picked up quickly. 911, what's your emergency?" "Yes," I said, voice tight, with anger. "There are trespassers on my private property right now, armed with tools, driving stakes into my land. They claim an HOA sent them. I need an officer here immediately." The dispatcher asked me to confirm the address, then assured me an officer was on the way. Meanwhile, I snapped photos, wide shots showing the men, close-ups of the stakes, even a video of them refusing to leave when I told them to. They didn't stop working until the first sheriff's deputy's cruiser pulled up, lights flashing. Deputy Ramirez stepped out, hand on his duty belt. "Morning, sir. You the one who called?" "Yes," I said, pointing toward the survey crew. "They're trespassing. This is my land, and they refuse to leave." Ramirez turned to the men. "Gentlemen, you got permission to be here?" The lead surveyor waved his clipboard. "The HOA board authorized us." The deputy's eyes narrowed. "That's not how it works. You've written consent from the property owner?" "No," the man admitted, but the HOA president assured. "Us, they control this section." I nearly laughed. "The HOA doesn't control a single inch of my land. I have the deeds in my house if you want proof." Ramirez nodded. "Why don't you go grab those while I hold these gentlemen here?" Inside, I pulled out my grandfather's original deed, my own updated one, and the official county survey I had commissioned 5 years ago. The paperwork left no doubt. The tree line and everything beyond belonged to me, legally recorded and notarized. When I handed the documents over, Ramirez took his time reviewing them. Then he turned to the surveyors. "You're trespassing. Pack up your equipment and leave immediately. If you set foot on this property again, without Mr. Daniel's permission, you will be arrested." The men muttered protests about just doing their job, but they had no choice. They packed up their scope and stakes, their shoulders slumped, and shuffled back toward the subdivision. But I wasn't finished, not by a long shot. That evening I marched straight into the subdivision and knocked on the HOA president's door. A woman named Karen, yes. Her real name answered with a smug smile. "I assume you're here about the survey," she said sweetly. "You sent men onto my land without permission," I shot back. "That's criminal trespass." Karen crossed her arms. "Don't be dramatic. The HOA has always intended to extend the community's walking trail. That land is basically unused woodland. We're entitled to make improvements for the greater good." I couldn't believe her arrogance. Unused woodland. That's my family's property. And if you ever send anyone onto it again, I'll press charges. Do I make myself clear? Karen's smile faltered. "You don't want to make an enemy of the HOA. We have resources. We can make your life difficult." I leaned in. "Try me." And I walked away. Over the next week, I received 3 letters from the HOA's attorney. The first accused me of obstructing community development. The second claimed that an ancient easement gave them rights to my woodland. The third threatened legal action if I didn't cooperate. But I wasn't worried. I had already contacted my own lawyer, a bulldog named Sarah who specialized in property disputes. Oh, she laughed when she read their letters. "They're bluffing," she said. "If they want to claim an easement, they'll have to produce recorded documentation. And I guarantee you, none exists." She drafted a cease and desist letter, warning the HOA that any further encroachment would result in a lawsuit for damages, trespass, and harassment. We sent it certified mail. Karen wasn't ready to give up. Instead of backing down, she started a smear campaign. HOA newsletters accused me of being hostile and anti-community. Rumors spread that I planned to clear-cut the forest to build apartments. One evening, I found spray-painted graffiti on my barn. HOA land. That was the final straw. I called Ramirez again, who documented the vandalism and noted the ongoing harassment. With each incident, my case against them grew stronger. Eventually, the HOA made good on their threat and filed a lawsuit claiming they had a prescriptive easement over my property due to community use. It was laughable. No one had legally used my land for anything. Ever in court, their attorney argued passionately about community benefit and intended expansion. But when the judge asked for proof of easement, they had nothing but vague maps and Karen's testimony. Then Sarah presented our stack: the original deed from my grandfather, the updated deed in my name, the county's official plat survey, photos and video of their unauthorized lease reports documenting trespass and vandalism. The judge barely needed 10 minutes. He ruled completely in my favor. The HOA was ordered to cease all attempts to claim my land, pay for my attorney fees, reimburse me for damages, including repairing my barn's graffiti. Karen's face turned beet red as the verdict was read. Word spread quickly through the subdivision. Many residents, already fed up with the HOA's power plays, started attending meetings and demanding accountability. Within 6 months, Karen was voted out as president. The new board reached out to me personally, apologizing for the mess and promising they'd never interfere again. As for me, I installed new fencing along the boundary and posted clear private property, no trespassing signs. I also put up motion-activated cameras. I still enjoy my coffee on the porch every morning. But now I do it with a little extra satisfaction, because I didn't just defend my land, I proved that no HOA, no matter how entitled, could bully me into submission. This whole ordeal taught me something important. People who crave control will push as far as you let them. The HOA thought I was just one man they could steamroll with fancy letters and hired surveyors. What they didn't count on was that I had the law, the sheriff, and the truth on my side. My land remains mine. My woodland is safe. And the HOA. They learned the hard way that sometimes the little guy isn't so little after all. This story is just the beginning. There is so much more ahead. Subscribe to the channel to join me on this journey.